Hello. Today I want you to focus on using a calculator because we will have to use calculators in some of the questions that we will be expected to do as we go through the years. Now I'm using an FX83 Casio. There are plenty of other calculators out there that do the same things. I think the Aurora one we said at school is absolutely fine. There are some calculators that you would find it difficult if you don't have, let's say, a fraction button, which is what these two boxes separated by a fraction line is. We can also do many other functions with it, so let's do a few examples and hopefully this can help you out and get you more confident in using your calculator. Okay, so the first example is 3/8 times 16 over 31. So I'd like you to start using the calculator. So this button up here on the left is your fraction button. And if you press that button, you will get your two boxes. You need to fill in those two boxes with the numbers. So 3 is on the top, so I hit the 3 button. And then I use the arrows on the cursor pad, I suppose. And you want to divide that by 8, so you put an 8 on the bottom. It's not so easy to pick up the answer on the computer. Let's see if I can get a light to make it a little bit more easier. There we go. So we've got 3/8 and we are timesing it by. So actually, no, we need to come away from this fraction now. So we're going to use the right button, then we're going to times it by, and then we're going to put in another fraction. Okay, and it's 16 over 31. So using the arrow button again. Once you've done this, you can just press the equal sign, which is down here at the bottom. You can't see it on mine because it's worn out. And we do get an answer of 6 over 31. So it's pretty easy to use, really. You just need to know which buttons, the right buttons to use. So this time, let's look at using a mixed number. So let's delete that. And the mixed number is where the fraction button is, but you have to press the shift first. So press shift, then press the fraction button, and you will get up your mixed number. You need to put in the numbers which are in the question, and then you would need to do it again for the second fraction. So we've got 7 and 3/8. Then we divide, so we're going to press the divide button, which is below the AC button, divided by shift, and then the fraction button again, and that gets you a mixed number, and that's 2 and 1/5. Pressing the equals button, and I get 295 over 60 or over 88. If I were to press the SD button, that would convert that into a decimal. So press the SD button and there's my decimal, 3.352 and then 27 recurring. So press it back, it extends the decimal again, and then if you press it a third time, it will take it back to a fraction. So 295 over 88 would be my answer. Right, other calculations. Example 3 is pretty straightforward. You just need to use your brackets this time. So we have 5.23 times by, then open your bracket, and then we have a fraction plus another fraction. So we're going to need to use the fraction button. So a fraction 1.23 divided by 0.07. Use your arrow button to get away from that fraction because that's complete now. And I'm adding fraction 3/4. For me to be able to finish this off, I need to close this bracket. So I'm going to use the close bracket. And then I'm going to press equals. So I want to round this to one decimal place to make it slightly easier to look at. So what have we got here? We've got 95.82107. So to round it to one decimal place, we look at the next decimal place after the first one. So it's a 2. So do we round it up or do we leave it alone? I believe we leave it alone because it's 4 or below. So it's going to be 95.8. First of all, let's write down all the digits on my calculator. So it's 95.82104.3, and then that's equal to 95.8 to 1 decimal place. They may ask you for a different degree of accuracy. They may ask for 2 decimal places or 3 decimal places. As long as we can round, we'll be absolutely fine. Okay, example 4. This time I'm going to look at some of the square root buttons. So the square root button is this one here. Okay, so I want the square root of this fraction. So I'm going to hit the square root button. Then within the square root, I'm going to hit the fraction button. And I should get a square root with a fraction. So I want 14.67, and then I want to divide that by 0.113. And then I just press the equals button, and I get 11.39399003. This time I'm going to round it to 3 decimal places. So this is the first decimal place, this is 3, then the second, and then the third is a 3 again. Right, the next number, 5 or above, we give it a shove. So we're going to have, 9 is 5 above 5, so we're going to give this 3 a shove up to 4. And then we're going to chop it off, so there's no other digits after that. So this is equal to 11.394 to 3 decimal places. The reason we round it is just so it's easier to look at. Once we go into the thousands, it's becoming a very small amount that we're including in our calculation. Right, example 5. This time I want the cubed root and I want to use the squared button as well. And there's a mixed fraction in there, a mixed number, and there is also a fraction. So the cubed root is in the yellow writing behind the square root. So I have to press the shift button because that will use anything that's in yellow. So I'm going to, actually first of all, we have a fraction going on. So we need our fraction. So let's press the fraction button. Then on the top, I want my cubed root. So I press shift and the square root button, and that will bring up my cubed root. In that cubed root, I have 13 squared. The squared button is here. Okay, so that's 13 squared. On the bottom, I just have 3.5. So I'm going to use my arrow. I'm going to go along to the bottom, the denominator of this fraction, and I'm going to put in a mixed number. So it's going to be shift and then the fraction button, shift, fraction, and now I can put in my mixed number, which is 3 and 1/2. You could have, if you wanted to, convert that to a decimal and put in just 3.5, so you didn't have to use the fraction button. Right, that's it. Just press the equal sign and you should get an answer. So look, 1.5796499947. So let's write down all the digits on my display. And this time let's round it to 2 decimal places. So the first decimal place is a 5, the second decimal place is a 7, the next one's a 9, so yes, I definitely round that up. So I'm rounding the 7 up to 8 because it's closer to 1.58 than it is to 1.57. Okay, hopefully you're doing well so far. And you can use these as examples, so you can come back to this if you get stuck and you want to see. Right, the last one, the 6th one. This is something we call standard form. So we write something as a power of 10. So it's a big number. 10 to the power of 7 is a big number. So if we're timesing a number by 10 to the power 7, that means we're timesing it by 10 7 times. So there's a nice, easy way of doing this, and that's using your power button. Okay, this is a number to the power of anything, and then you can put in the power. So this X with a box, with a white box next to it. So what do we have? We have a fraction, so we're going to do a fraction. So let's put in our fraction button. Then on the top we have 5.6 times 10 to the power of 7. So 5.6 times 10. And then that 10 needs to have a power 7, so I'm going to hit this X button with the white box, and then I'm going to put a 7 next to it. And that's in standard form now. So we need to do the bottom as well, which is 3.2 times 10 to the power of 3. So 3.2 times 10. And then we're going to do the power button, and we're going to put in a 3. You could have, if you wanted to, use the cubed button, because that would get you a 3 straight away without pressing this button and putting in a 3. Right, let's press equals. What do we get? We get 17,500. That's nice and neat, actually. You could write this in standard form as well. So, how many times would you have to divide it by 10? 1, 2, 3, 4 times to get a number between 1 and 10. So it would be 1.7 times 10. To get this number back up to the 17,500, I'd have to times it by 10 4 times. Okay, that's using a calculator. That's all I'd like you to look at for now. So have a go at a worksheet or some questions, just so you can get a little bit better at it.